Huzi. We're taking our mechanic that we made, the heart, and we're going to make a Cascade Design. Cascade Design has emphasis on a downward rhythmic motion. Downward lines, it could be curved, it could zigzag, it could be interrupted, or it could be a combination of each. It's supported by a container or other device. It's a minimum of components, may extend upward. Most of it is a downward motion. So to start off, I pre-cut my Oasis. What I did was I took the block and I put my container over it and made a mark and shaved it off. I'm using Oasis floral netting. It's a much lighter wire netting than chicken wire. And we're going to make this mechanic. This stand is I found it in a consignment shop. It's for a pillar candle, and I'm sure it had some kind of a globe on it, but I'm just using the base because it's clear and not obtrusive. What I'm doing is I'm taking the Oasis wire and making my own mechanic. I'm using some silver wire, just probably about a 26 gauge, feels like. And what I'm making for the Oasis is a cage. You can buy the Oasis cages, but if you don't have one, or if you choose to make your own, the advantage of making your own is you could make it any size, whereas the Oasis cage only comes in a few different sizes. What this does, I folded it over and I wired it underneath. What this does is it holds the flowers in the Oasis. Once you put in a couple of them, there's a chance of the Oasis cracking and splitting. So this alleviates some of it. So I have it this way. What I'm going to do is just bend it in. And I'm going to tie it again with the silver wire. Wire doesn't matter, it's just how the mechanic itself is made. Tie it in several places to get it pretty tight. And I chose this glass stand for the little lip it has for the pillar candle. There we go. It doesn't really have to be that tight. And we'll do the same on the other side. Cut a piece of wire. This side, let's try something different. We can sew it with the wire. I do this when the Oasis is soaked. It seems to be better. I've tried it dry and it seems to crumble more than if it was wet. So we'll just tie it off down here. I'm using all silver in case if you can see it, and the little ends we can just trim off. Now, since it was measured to fit, it should fit. There we go. It's the start. Now we'll also tie this in just to make sure. Cut a good sized length of the silver wire, dragging it around the top, around the sides to hold this. A good mechanic is one that won't fall apart, and we shall see when we get going. Then I'm tying it off in the back. I just want something to hold it. I'm trying to thread it through. There we go. And then we'll get this side. We're using calla lilies. We're using variegated aspidistra and many carnations. Once we start, you won't see the mechanic. Now, there's a hole in the bottom of the heart, and it'll slip right over. As I said, it should slip right over. Let's see if it does. Seems to be working. It'll go right over. And we'll straighten it out. There we go. We have our heart. And we're going to attach our heart as well. We use a good sized length of silver wire. This is how I would do it. I like making my own devices. It's fun. That sense of accomplishment. So mechanics can't stress that enough. You don't want your piece falling apart, either at a show or, so we'll take it under. This went through the cage. See, I'm practically sewing this on. I'll go up to the other side. Doesn't really matter. That you really want this to be almost inconspicuous. conspicuous. There we go. We'll wrap it around once for good luck. And we'll tie it. You do your best with trying to get it to work. And then we'll just poke these up through. Okay. Since this is downward, calla lilies don't have to be in water. They'll survive, they'll last a couple of days. If it's for a single day show, you can manipulate callas by warming up the stem, gently warming the stem. The other is if you keep them out of water for a couple of hours, they'll soften up, which I didn't do. See, they'll relax. This maybe is a little bit too long. So what we'll do is we'll cut it, and the end should be sealed. Either you could just let it dry out, but I would choose myself to seal the end so we can still bend it a little bit more. Being careful not to snap. There we go. We have our downward motion. What I use to seal is hot glue. Blow on it a little to cool it off. And what we'll do is we'll and another minute. There we go. We're going to tie off the calla lily with some bind wire. Bind wire is a paper cover wire, as this would cut through the calla lily stem. If you didn't have bind wire, what you could use is wire wrapped in floral tape. Since these aren't going in water, it really doesn't matter. We'll just attach it. We'll attach it with bind wire. Once, and then we'll attach it again. Make a U and poke it up and tie it on. Okay. There's one. And we'll just cut the wires. Bend them over. Okay. We have our calla lilies inserted. Now we're ready for some eucalyptus. So we can give it that downward thrust. Let's see if we have a nice long piece to give it. This will give it some rhythm. When inserting, take off the bottom few leaves. Insert into foam. Go. Variegated, and we'll take the rib off. It's the back piece. You just gently remove it, a little of it. It makes it easier to bend. And we'll cut it. And we'll curl it. Give it a little rhythm. To cut U-glue, you use titanium scissors. It cuts through any type of glue without sticking. So I'm using 1/3 of a tab. They're little tabs, and I cut it into thirds. You really don't need that much to make this work. See, what I'm doing is I'm bending it around. So we'll cut it. See how it looks. This will give a ribbony look. There's foliage manipulation. There is so many ways you can manipulate. That's what happens when you use the wrong scissors. There we go. We got the titanium ones. We'll make a few cuts here. Use a few different pieces. The soaked oasis will last for a day. Just keeps them a little bit of moisture. I'd like to finish all my pieces with Oasis Crowning Glory. I know it sounds like I'm doing a commercial for them, but they're the only ones that have a good product. There's another one out there. It's by Floral Life, but it's not as good as the Oasis Crowning Glory. Crowning Glory really coats it. The other product really doesn't. This one might be a little overstated, so we'll move him up. When you do multiple holes like this, you want to don't poke it back in the same hole. We'll make for the top, what we'll do is we'll take the leaf and poke it through. Turn it around. Just gives us another shape. And there we have it. Our Cascade Design using our wired heart-shaped mechanic. A list of all materials used will be in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Comments and suggestions are always welcome.